Hey everyone, this is Julia, the nomadic crafter, and I don't have my selfie stick, so woo, Bambi and I are here next to this empty school, and what strange times we're living in. Part of me is like, this is not that big of a deal. Um, sure, we've never had a stay-at-home order in my lifetime or any kind of well, the National Guard has been brought together in the past during the civil rights movement and whatnot, but part of me is like, I know it'll go back to normal because it always does. But then, the part of me that understands that our system is fallible, that our system, basically our overall, society and economic system and social system is precarious, foundationally based on the fact that our agriculture is precarious and not sustainable. And there's a lot of reasons for that and facts that I could give you, but that same system that's in our agricultural system that's not sustainable, that sort of constantly takes more than it gives. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of food now, but that's because we've like harnessed the beast and we're like there fighting it on the ground, injecting fertilizers and pesticides, taking over vast areas of land for monocultures and using non-reproducible seeds from Monsanto and systems that are highly dependent on oil. We've got this beast and we're like, fighting it to the ground. Basically, it's like if you had a system that was based on a circle and you take from it and you give and it rejuvenates, and you take from it and you give and it rejuvenates. We're not giving, and we're not giving time for it to rejuvenate. And so this system, even though it seems like it's producing a lot of food now, is at the whim of any insect infestation that's become resistant to the pesticides, is susceptible to such a low nutrient base in the water that it can't even produce food anymore. It's so susceptible to not having enough water, and it is so susceptible to, like I said, insect outbreaks like the locusts that are now in Africa and other places. That same system, that same way of doing things is prevalent in all of our systems. That's how we do everything. All of our systems are basically non-sustainable in the same way, and they're highly hierarchical. Decisions made from the very top, very distant place from all of our everyday lives, and we have very little connection with our representation. This idea of actually being connected to the leaders that are making decisions. Our entire system is so hierarchical that everything that must be done has to first, go all the way down the chain and has to start at the top. It's just a very precarious system all around. So back to what I was saying, part of me is like, of course this will just go back to normal. And this whole thing will be used for the government to get more power, which is what's happening now. And this stimulus package for a lot of wealth transfer to the wealthy, and that's what's happening now as well. I know this sounds pretty radical, but anyway, all of that will go down, then it'll go back to normal with even worse debt for this country and its people. But like I say, the other side of me, understanding the precariousness of these systems, agriculture, economy, education, oil, everything, all of the supplies and products that we use every day. That side of me that knows that this is coming, and has been coming for a long time. And I always just wondered, is it going to be in my lifetime? And I always thought that, yeah, it would be, but it wouldn't be today or tomorrow. What would it be like, a collapse? What would it be like? How long would it take? And how bad would it get before most of it is lost or before people start up new arrangements again? This idea of a collapse. Today, this morning, I'm leaning towards that's what's actually happening here. As Bambi and I took our walk, I saw a complete car engine had been taken out of a vehicle and set on the sidewalk. And there's litter everywhere around the park that's not being used here, where we're at, nearby. And I was just like, wow, this is like really scary. And it made me think of when collapse does come, even if it's a slow collapse, the systems that sort of keep everything in place are not going to be functioning well. And seeing this giant engine sitting on the sidewalk, I imagine how much trash and just junk and tore up stuff and stuff that's going to be everywhere. It's going to get really, really ugly. And then as we walked further, a locust flew right by me and parked, landed right near me so I could get a real good look at what it was. And it's a locust. Locust. These things come out periodically every 10 years or every 7 to 14 years or something like that, depending on the species. And all species are changing their patterns right now as well, just as we are. I don't mean right now, but in the last 20 years, in the last 10 years, in the last 5 years, whether the climate's changing or not, it's certainly changing right now. And so those species are all changing. I saw a locust. Now, let's imagine what we're going through right now and add an outbreak and devastation of crops by locusts here in America. Add that to our troubles. How does that change the mix? How does that affect things? Well, that affects our food on a big, big level. It affects our resources to be able to fight that battle with those insects. So, either locusts are coming out here, and it's not the first time I've seen it. This is the second time now that I've seen locusts flying around. The last time it was more than one. I think it was 2. But either they're coming out now here, or they've traveled from places like Africa here. Locusts. Throw that into the mix and see what happens. Then, thirdly, keep people contained and out of work and the economy dipping, and then maybe having some shortages of things. Bambi, stay right there, buddy. Okay? And then see what happens then. How many different things can we take at once before we see some serious collapse issues? And then the way it kind of works is once 1 or 2 things starts getting out of whack and falling, more things attached to that begin to fall and fall apart. That's where I'm at today, and it's really a tough reality to face. When I saw that locust and that engine, and we went and sat on the edge of the park, I just started crying a little bit. It's like a little birdie came up to me and said, it's happening now. So that's what I've been thinking about today. Yesterday, I began to really consider leaving San Diego and heading north or even east. But it's getting kind of hot to go into the desert now, because I am getting really, really tired of being here, and I'm getting tired of sewing. If the SHTF hadn't already started to happen here with this virus, darn it, now there's going to be a monetization issue with this video. And why people wouldn't be able to express their views about an issue where a platform like YouTube would try and clamp down on misinformation. You know what? The citizens should be smart enough to know how to do their research and to not take everything with a grain of salt, rather than having authorities or companies clamp down on what can be said or not. That's a real sign of the times right there. But I've been considering heading out because if this wasn't all going on, I probably would be like, okay, I'm getting really tired of sewing in this one spot, and I'm getting near where I feel like I have enough stuff in my store to begin to head out, because I'm starting to go a little bit crazy here. The reason one of the reasons I haven't wanted to is because everywhere I go, I won't be able to visit all the cute little beach towns along the way, and I won't be able to empty my toilet in the bathroom at the beach spot, and I won't be able to collect water everywhere, and I won't be able to go into places and you know libraries and places like that to go inside and charge my devices. I mean, I'll have to really keep driving to keep those things charged on the van. Oh my God. So, bugging out here in San Diego in the sewing studio is really the safest way, where I know where there's parking, I know where to get water, I can do all that. But man, yesterday I started thinking, okay, we need to really consider what we're doing here next, because if they make a travel ban, as I've said before, I don't want to be contained here. And then if this gets really a lot worse, where do I want to be? Do I want to be in a big city? I have family here, but it's not like a place I could go. And this where I'm staying really is a mechanic shop with all the attendant, dirtiness and people coming in and out, and just, if I could take the space that I'm renting and really make it into a pretty little spot, where I could be comfortably and safely, I would, but I can't really do that because he kind of has his stuff everywhere there. So I'm really considering leaving, guys, and just, it might be the best time to go. I mean, gas is like under $3 right now in California, and it's dropping by 20 cents every time I look at it, every couple days. Also, there's not much traffic out there. We could drive through LA without having to worry about, driving in the middle of the night or super early in the morning. There's not a lot of people out, but still places like McDonald's and stuff where I can go get online are open. I mean, in the parking lot, the drive-thrus are open. And the water machines are available throughout, so I could do that. Then it just becomes, where the heck am I going to park when you're supposed to be staying at home? And I'll be driving through areas fast enough that I won't find out from the locals where to park. And I don't have my own internet as I'm traveling, so I can't really pre-research areas unless I, stop at places and the research before I go. But I have so much online work to do as it is, I'll probably be needing the internet time for that. So I said, well, what do I do? I said, well, ask for guidance. Duh. Pray. Ask for guidance. So I prayed and I said, hey you, hey big guy. No, I don't even really think, it's like relevant to a person. I prayed for guidance on this question of what we should do now, where we should go, and when. The horoscopes are all saying, hey, aren't you supposed to be going somewhere? Well, one of them said, you're not late, but, you're going, right? The other one said, hey, it's time to go. And the other one said, you're supposed to be traveling now. Time to go, time to go. So, hi, Bambi. That's my dog, Bambi, if you don't know. By the way, my name's Julia. I live in a van, and we don't travel that much. We kind of stay in places for a while, and then we travel. Well, I'm kind of wanting to travel, and it's driving me crazy. There's the empty school. All right, it's getting so cold out here, I'm going to have to put my jacket on. I'm starting to shake a little bit. So, yeah, I live in a van going through this lockdown situation here in California and trying to decide where to put myself for what might be coming next. And I'm starting to think, having seen those locusts flying around, that, reminding me that all it's going to take is, by the way, we had a pretty big 4-point-something earthquake here in California recently. I couldn't tell, but that could happen. A lot of things could happen to make this much more difficult. I'm hoping that all of you are safe out there, not going off the handle. I've always thought this way. Survival mode is how I've always lived. And I learned from an early age on, and then confirmed it studying natural systems in college, that things are precarious, especially since we're not living close to nature and within the guidelines of nature, which we should be if we want to survive, but we're not. So I'm not going off the handle, but those are my thoughts today. And I thank you for watching. Please put in your comments what you think about all this. Is it going to go back to normal? Normal, which is treacherous as it is. Or is it going to, are we going to have some kind of collapse here? And be safe out there, people. Wear your masks. I have more masks in my store available if you'd like some. And I'm starting to move to some nice cotton ones too, different kinds. You can go to etsy.com/store/California Patchwork if you want to get some masks. These ones here are my recycled t-shirt masks. So it's a sweater right there. This is a small, and I can't get it to fit. Something's wrong with the ear flaps. Anyway, wear your masks, wash your hands, and get out for some fresh air and sunlight. You're going to need it. Thanks so much for watching. Love you guys. Everything's going to be all right one way or the other. See, that's the thing. We're never left alone. We're never left alone. We always have all of the guidance and higher power getting our back that we've always had. It's just that it could get really ugly. So you got to be strong. We're going to have to be strong and calm and hopeful. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you for watching. Take care.